Good morning, ultimate hustlers and digital empire builders. It is that time for the Cortez Hustle Show. And today we got a wonderful show lined up for you today. We'll continue to celebrate Black History Month and Black Futures Month. If you don't know what Black Future Month is, that's where we are talking to entrepreneurs who are making an impact today that's going to create a better future for us. We got Dr. Barrett Matthews in the building talking about how to make money with media. There's a lot of opportunity out there for you guys, ladies and gentlemen. The internet has literally leveled the playing field, and he teaches you how to take and harness all that the internet has to offer, all that social media has to offer, all of the various mediums that we have to offer. We can go direct to consumer with our messages if we harness the power of media. So do me a huge favor, comment in the chat where you're from, drop the name of your business and or your brand, and smash that share button, ladies and gentlemen, and let's kick it this morning. Yo, what's up, ultimate hustlers, and welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show, the business podcast for the entrepreneur of the 21st century. And I'm your host, Cortez Hustle. Our goal is to give you a behind-the-scenes look at how the world's greatest hustlers build amazing brands, scale their businesses to incredible heights, sell more, make more, and create mass movements that impact the world. It doesn't matter if you're a seasoned vet or you're sitting on the sidelines with aspirations to one day unleash your inner hustle. This show will provide the insights into how pure grit, determination, and hard work has morphed into some of the most iconic brands and personalities and how they are moving the culture forward. You'll get a mix of solo shows featuring yours truly, as well as interviews and content from other hustlers that I either know personally or I've learned from or whose grind I've come to know and respect. And you'll also get exclusive recordings from our membership called Monetize My Life Academy, which you can check out at monetizemylifeacademy.com. That's a program where we go live every month with some of the best hustlers on the planet, sharing best practices on how we all can explode our brands with advanced branding and marketing tactics, business development strategies, and financial game planning necessary to build the empires we all desire. Again, that's at monetizemylifeacademy.com. If you like today's episode, chances are the hustlers you're connected to will like it as well. Share it with those in your network. And when you do, use hashtag Cortez Hustle so I can see you and hopefully give you a shout out and share you in my stories. So check out today's episode and make sure you subscribe to the feed on your favorite podcasting networks. All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Cortez Hustle Show. I am, of course, your host, Cortez Hustle, everybody's favorite fatherpreneur, coming to you live and direct from the Black Bear Success Mastermind Studios right here in St. Louis, Missouri. If you're not familiar with the Black Bear Success Mastermind, all we want to do is help aspiring entrepreneurs, existing entrepreneurs, and those who love to connect and network with Black entrepreneurs come together, share best practices, exchange information so that we all can grow and scale our businesses. Text the keyword mastermind at 314-866-4053. If you need to be part of a community that helps people win in business, then that's the community for you. Text keyword mastermind at 314-866-4053. Today we got a wonderful show lined up for you today. We're talking about how to make money with media. Ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't been paying attention over the last several years, this wonderful invention called the internet has literally leveled the playing field. There's no more gatekeepers, ladies and gentlemen. You can go direct to consumer with your messages. You can create your own shows, podcasts. You can create all of the things that you want to do in the area of media. And we got a special guest that's going to be teaching us how to monetize and turn those into profitable enterprises. So if you like to talk, if you like to be in front of a camera, if you like to be in front of a microphone, if you like to just get out and do your thing, man, and share your message with the world, what God has put on your heart, then this is the episode for you today. A couple quick announcements before we bring on our special guest. Actually, just one major announcement. You guys been asking for the Lead Generation Masterclass, and the Tribal Lead Generation Masterclass is coming. Mark your calendar. This coming Wednesday. That's right. This coming Wednesday, we're going to do the Lead Generation Masterclass at 7 p.m. Central Time. Comment keyword lead generation so that I know to send you the direct link to enroll in that masterclass. So, of course, more details will come out forthcoming. But if you are a coach or consultant and you struggle to generate leads and building a tribe around who you are, what you do, that's what this masterclass is going to be all about. I'm going to teach you how we're using Facebook groups, how we're using text messaging systems, how we are building tribes of people around who we are and what we do. So you never run out of customers and clients and prospects. So comment keyword lead generation, so I'll know who to send a special invitation to. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, this man has decades of experience in the media space. He is a multi-time author. He has all the accolades, including the DR in front of his name. So without further ado, I'm going to introduce to some of you guys and present to others, Dr. Barrett Matthews. Good morning, Dr. Matthews. How are you, my friend?
Good morning, Cortez. I am doing marvelously well and improving. How are you, my friend?
I am doing equally as well and trying to improve every day too, Doc. So thank you for coming on to the show. And we're going to get all the way into your background, what got you in the area of media and the challenge that you're running and all of the things that you're doing. But before we do any of that, we start the day with a quote of the day. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share one of the quotes that I picked up during my morning routine. And if you have a favorite quote, you can share yours or you can comment on mine. But today's quote I got from this book right here called Why Didn't You Get It Done? And that is a book by Dr. Barrett Matthews, but he always at the end of every chapter has different quotes to go along with the theme of the chapter. And this one was on belief. It says, believe in yourself, have faith in your abilities. Without a humble but reasonable confidence in your own powers, you cannot be successful or happy, ladies and gentlemen. You got to believe in yourself. So I love that quote because the book I read tells me that all things are possible for him that believes, right? And I think belief is the foundation, but we have come up in a world and in a society that has really beat the belief out of us. And we don't believe in our own abilities and our own authority to create on this planet in the way that we could and should. So that was a great quote. So Dr. Matthews, do you have a favorite quote or do you want to chime in on that one?
Actually, yeah, my favorite quote, I've said, I seem to have said it more and more to people since we've been dealing with COVID. My favorite quote is, adversity is inevitable, but stress is optional.
Ooh, I love that. I love that. Adversity is inevitable, but stress is optional. I think you are so spot on with that, man. The perspective around the things that you go through, the things that you experience. I think people forget that we have choices as to how we're going to respond to those things and how we're going to let those things affect us. So that is a wonderful quote. I love that. I'm gonna borrow that. That might be the quote
I borrowed it
on tomorrow's show.
I don't even know who I borrowed it from. I've been using it so long.
Yeah, that is an amazing quote. People forget that your perspective is your reality, and if you see everything as stress-filled and you allow those things to stress you, then that's exactly what you're going to experience, and that's exactly what you're going to go through. But that is a choice. That is an option. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is the quote of the day right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by Thornton Online Marketing. We have small local businesses attract, serve, and retain more customers without paid ads. Text local biz to 314-730-3999. If you are struggling in the area of your small local business making a bigger impact in your community, text local biz to 314-730-3999 for a free marketing strategy session. So, Dr. Matthews, I ask everybody that comes on to the Cortez Hustle Show this same question. So I'm going to ask it to you, my friend. Who the heck are you?
Wow. I don't know if we get enough time for that. Well, I'm Barrett Matthews. I mean, just take away the doctor. I'm Barrett Matthews. I grew up in Maryland. I always tell people, I hear a lot of hard luck stories. I didn't have a hard luck life. My parents, they provided for us. They took care of us. We got educated. They were blessed enough to send 4 kids to college, and we all None of us are, thank God, strung out on drugs. None of us are in prison. I'm blessed. I'm just honestly blessed. And they taught us, to believe in the Lord and take care of everything. So I went to college. I went to an HBCU. I went to Hampton University. I studied media.
The real HU is what I heard about Hampton.
What's that?
I heard they call Hampton the real HU.
Well, I tell people, when they get into that HU thing, I said, I tell the other people, I said, y'all can have HU. I said, because in Hampton we use words. So so I majored in media there, and that wasn't my original. I started out as an architecture major, and the architecture kicked my butt royally.
Okay.
Yeah, it was not for me, and I got into media, and my grades skyrocketed. I just excelled in it. I loved it. It was fun to me, and I was fortunate enough to do an internship with a gentleman that we're all familiar with. You see him on Sundays every football season, James Brown. And I met him while I was interning, and he kind of took me under his wing and exposed me to a lot of different things, even helped me with my college thesis. And when I got out of school, he actually recommended me for a job. I got a job at a local TV station in Washington, D.C. Actually, it was the #1 station then. I was an assistant director there, and moved on from assistant director there to working at CBS Sports. He got me an interview up there. So I interviewed at CBS Sports. And now my work's being shown all over the world, which was cool. And I ran into what I call the isms of corporate America, which many of your listeners have run into. The isms mean racism, sexism, nepotism, ran into all of them at the same time at that place. And I was like, okay, this is what corporate America is really like. And long story short, they didn't want to renew my contract because I didn't want to, play the game. And I got out of television actually about a year after that altogether for a good number of years. But the media kept calling me back. No matter what I did, I was either writing something, editing something, recording something, and it just kept calling me back. And after a while, you get to the point like, what are you fighting? So I just decided that I'm going to embrace what I do, what I love to do, and what I do well. And so then I started working with some other people, Sir Clyde Rivers, who actually liked what I was doing, and now he wants to incorporate what I'm doing in his mission of promoting civility around the world. So we're working on bringing some media to a nation in Ghana. So we're actually going to be working. He actually was named the king recently, so he wants me to bring what I'm doing to his kingdom. And it's a whole lot of things going on, man.
I love it.
That's who I am.
Good to know. Good to know. You said when you started out as an architecture major, and did your parents give you any pushback when you decided to change? Because I can imagine that as a father who has a son in engineering school, it's like when your kids pick certain majors, like it makes you proud. Like I'm excited. My son's gonna be an architect. Then when you said, "Hey, I'm going,"
no, not at all. My parents are very, very supportive. But I don't even. I'll be honest with you, Cortez. I don't even remember my parents' reaction to that.
Okay.
I don't even. I remember my sister Avis, and happy birthday, Avis.
Happy birthday, Avis.
Yeah, she's celebrating the big one. And there's a milestone that I ain't gonna tell you age. But anyway, she's my older sister. But it actually, I called her and I said, I don't know what I want to change my major to. I was so focused on architecture, I had no idea what I wanted to change my major to. And she said to me, you've always been interested in radio and television and stuff like that, and you've always been good at writing. And I thought, isn't everybody interested in radio and television? That's what I thought. And I never thought of it as a major. Never thought of it as a major.
Yeah.
And so when I switched majors, my grades just shot up because it was fun to me. And when I heard people talking in the major, complaining about this, complaining about that, I say, try architecture.
Because they might be having that same experience. I think people, we live in a society where we know that money is important, but I don't think it is as important as I'm only going to pick a major based on how much money it can make me and
Yeah.
the lifelong earning potential of that career, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's the mindset that most people go in. And that's why I love the age that we're in today, because literally, if you got a skill in anything, right? Anything, I've seen people build funnels and courses and programs around anything
Yeah.
and make
Anything.
tens of thousands of dollars per month.
Millions.
And it's like, you should not pick the major based on the amount of money, but you should be going after something that you like, that you can see yourself doing. I want to talk about those isms, man. I have a lot of Black women come on the show, and I always talk to them about their experience in corporate. We know that Black women are the number one fastest growing segment of entrepreneurs in the world right now because of some of those isms. But what were some of the things that you experienced that kind of made you say, you know what, this environment ain't healthy? Like,
Well,
I know it was racism, but particularly, can you share a
oh yeah, I
particular?
can share. Well, one is that when you talk about there were three of us interviewing for one job. One of us was me, one of us was a Black female, and one of us was a Caucasian gentleman. I mean, and he and I, we're still friends to this day. 30 years later, we're still friends to this day. But they gave him the job. Now, I had experience working for the number one news station in Washington, D.C. She had experience working at a news station in Chicago. He was fresh out of college.
Oh, wow.
But his dad knew one of the executives that worked there.
Gotcha.
So that's the nepotism part.
Gotcha. And is that really a bad thing, though? Because I think, for me, I think we experienced that, and you and I know we both share a mutual relationship with Dr. Washington. I think we experienced that because we're not in position to have that. But you built a media company to the size of what the size was. I think you have a little favor for your kids or someone you knew were trying to,
Oh yeah, you can. You can. It's just that, like I said, it was just what I experienced.
Yeah.
It was like, it's like, okay, I'm because keep in mind, I'm like a year or so out of college myself. So this is a learning experience for me. I'm learning what corporate America is really like on a large scale.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. It's like, okay, this is how the game is played.
Yeah, exactly.
Either I go build my own thing, or I get good at.
And I still wasn't even thinking that yet. At that point, I still wasn't even thinking build my own thing. But that was one experience. Like the young lady, I got a position like right below that. She got a position as a secretary.
Oh wow.
Yeah. And then she ended up filing a harassment suit against him as well. So and to see her, she learned some things herself because the suit didn't really go anywhere. You know, they can play that game all day long. Yeah. But what it did, it prompted her to become an attorney.
Gotcha. So, and that's what we have to do, is take these experiences, and if we want to see change, then we got to be the change. All right. Hey, okay. This is what it's like. And whether we decide to go build our own empires, or like the young lady, to her credit, okay, this probably ain't I'm not the only female that this is happening to. Exactly. So let me go put myself in position to do something about all of these things that could be happening, because that's, at the end of the day, I look at all of these different isms, right? These are human beings, right? Yeah. So these are families who run these companies. I know we see companies like other entities, but these are families in a lot of cases running these institutions. And of course, they're going to look out for their own. And because we as Black people have yet to build institutions on that level that are widespread, we are getting the short end of the stick when it comes to those conversations, when opportunity for advancement and things of that nature. So
and keep in mind, I mean, like I said, that was the nepotism. But if we're being honest, nepotism is what got me in that position.
Because you had James Brown,
I mean, yeah,
speak a word for you on your behalf to kind of get you in the door. And so I think we can't have it both ways, right? We complain when it's used against us, but at the same time, a lot of times it's used for us too,
Mhm.
to get us indoors and open doors for us as well. So we're going to continue with a little bit of your backstory, but stick around, ladies and gentlemen. If you want to learn how to make money in media, right, in any facet, because Dr. Barrett has done it all. He's done it for the corporate side. He's done it personally. He's helped individuals. He's founded and created things from scratch, and he coaches a lot of people in the area of media, podcasting, social media, using their gifts and talents in this arena to grow businesses. So we're going to get to that, I promise you. But right now it is 7:21. That means it is time for one of my favorite segments, Doc, on the show called 1 Minute Motivation. If you're new to the Cortez Hustle Show, 1 Minute Motivation is where we play a short motivational video, usually 60 to 90 seconds or so. And I just ask you to give me a takeaway or two. I'm going to give a takeaway or two in the audience, those of you who are watching us live and you have the ability to type. Don't be trying to leave your comment and drive at the same time, people. But if you have the ability to leave us a comment, let us know one of your takeaways as well. So this is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show.
Whatever you have in your environment is a reflection of your consciousness. So you got all that chaos there. That represents some disorganized, cluttered section of your mind. So let's get all that out of there, all right? Work to get that out, clean that up. Anybody that you feel very strongly about, have some negative feelings about, let's look at some good reasons to forgive them. Number one, you must try and see what has happened or see things from that other person's point of view. Let's look at it from their point of view. That's one area. That's number one. Then number two, holding a grudge hurts you. It doesn't hurt them. So just for good health and peace of mind, let it go. Any feeling of resentment or anger or hatred is called, to me, the load of bitterness within. Every thought that we entertain produces a chemical in our brain that impacts the body's immune system. And besides, this person you're hating, they probably are not even aware of it. They're someplace having a good time. Don't even know you're really hating them. You've turned up the steam. Gone from dislike to hate, intense hate. And here you are killing yourself, making yourself vulnerable to various types of illnesses, putting yourself in bad health. And I say that person is not worth your sacrificing your health or 1 minute of peace of mind.
Ooh-wee. Dr. Barrett. So I love to start the day with positive motivation like that. And the reason I love to do it, especially when we have a guest on, is because we all just listen to the same clip, but we all heard something very different. So what did you hear, my friend?
I heard myself a long time ago. I was in a relationship and we broke up, and I was so bitter about it. I mean, bitter for years about it. And then I realized that this person ain't thinking about me. That's it. And then I cause see what was interesting about the relationship was that we were living in the same apartment complex, so it was kind of hard to have a clean break. Also, her cousin was one of my best friends, so it was just hard to have a clean break. So we would see each other. But what I told myself is this, and I hope everybody's paying attention. I don't have to be friends with her, but I can be friendly. So by changing my attitude about how I approach it, instead of being bitter and angry, I was able to just get along. You don't have to like the person. You don't have to trust the person. You don't have to do business with the person, whoever you're dealing with. But you can still be cordial. You can still be friendly and then move on. Because it's kind of like Les was saying, how it hurts you to be bitter. Sometimes it bothers the other person more when you're nice to them. Not in that case, but I've seen cases where the other person could not understand why they're being nice to me. What are they doing? Because it's kind of like Michelle Obama, when they go low, we go high. Just go high. Just go high. And it can. And I like the part where he talked about seeing things from the other person's perspective. I have a dear friend, and I mean she's holding on right now, but she's actually in hospice. She's been fighting a long battle with cancer, and she's just talking about her she knows her end is near. But it's one of those things where, like, the other day I was trying to cheer up, but she didn't want to be cheered up, and I said, you know what, Barrett, you don't know what she's going through. So let her have this. If she
Yeah.
let her have this. And I remember I told her years ago when she first told me she was ill, I said, you will never hear me say, I know what you're going through, which is what a lot of people love to say in situations. I don't. Even if I had, because people say, well, I had cancer too, it still doesn't mean that you know what that particular person is going through. So just sometimes you have to let them talk, let them get it out, and that way, you can just you can deal with things better if you do that and see things from their perspective.
I love it. I love it. He said your environment reflects your consciousness, right? You got a lot of stuff going on inside of you, and that's why you got a lot of stuff going on around you too. Got to figure out how to calm that stuff down, man. And forgiveness is key, man. A lot of times we don't realize that is what's holding us back in a lot of areas of our life, right? We talk about wealth a lot on the show and economic empowerment. And I always like to remind the audience that your subconscious mind will never allow you to become that which you despise. And sometimes we will despise wealthy people, we despise successful people, and we are hating on people for winning. His dad gave him $100,000 to get started, or whatever the case is. All you're doing is making excuses as to why you are not there or on that road. Right.
Cortez, oh my God, you many of us, many entrepreneurs and many people that look like us are walking contradictions. We sit there and I want those who are listening right now, think about this. Have you said, especially around election time, have you said, I can't stand that these rich people don't have to pay taxes? And then next week say, I want to be rich.
Right. Yeah, I'm telling you. That's not like your subconscious mind is not going to let you become that which you despise, because otherwise you're going to have to despise yourself.
Right, exactly.
So we got to be careful with that and understand how to applaud and celebrate success. That's why the good book says you mourn with those who are mourning, but you rejoice with those who are rejoicing, right? Because eventually you're going to want people to rejoice with you. So, ladies and gentlemen, that is 1 Minute Motivation right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, brought to you by the Make Money from Media Challenge.com. And go sign up for Dr. Barrett's challenge. I'm telling you, if you want to figure out a way to make some passive, and we're going to talk all about it today, some passive and residual streams of income, especially if you love to run your mouth, right? If you love to be in the mix, right? There's a lot of ways that you can build media assets to make you some money. And Dr. Barrett is going to talk a lot about that today. So make sure you guys go check out Make Money from MediaChallenge.com. I'll put a link inside of the show notes and the description for you guys to go check that out. So Dr. Barrett, we kind of went through a little bit of your background, raised by solid family, which is good, solid foundation. Applaud your parents, sending 4 children to college. I sent 4 of my 5 sons, right?
Man, congratulations.
2 went on. Well, 1 has gone all the way. He's still ended up a few credits short of his degree.
Still, man.
Then I got 1 who's in engineering school right now. But I sent 4 out of the 5. And then the baby boy was like, no, I'm done. High school was enough for me. Don't even look to me to go to no college. I ain't gonna play with y'all money. I ain't gonna pretend that I'm finna go.
Right.
And I was like, hey, I appreciate that, brother.
Right.
Now let's just figure out what you're gonna do.
Right.
But don't go out there and have me getting, $40,000, $50,000 worth of loans and all kind of stuff, and that you ain't trying to figure that thing out. But you got into media, you fell in love with it, man, and you started in the corporate world, but then ultimately you started doing some things on your own. So how long did you do the corporate thing? And then what was kind of the first project that you kind of ventured out on your own and did in the space of media?
Well, fortunately for me, after I left CBS, I got with it was a local cable company. I worked with them for about a year and a half. And I remember getting a mailer, it was a postcard, and it was from a lady, and I remember reading the last name. I said, the last name, it was unique to me. And I said, I know some people with that last name. So I scheduled an interview, went in with them. and met with the lady. But the first person I saw in there was the person I knew from college. I knew that last name. It was her mother I was interviewing with, and
Oh, wow.
it was with a network marketing company, and that was my first venture into getting away from the corporate world.
Yeah.
Working in network marketing, and I realized I was like, hold on, I get to create my own pay. I get to create my own hours. I can't get fired. So it was that right there. It was that opened my mind to different things, to entrepreneurship. And so I did pretty well in that for about 10 years. Moved from Maryland to Atlanta, opened up some offices down there, and then I got away from that and I got into real estate appraisal. But still, I was controlling my schedule. At that point, I tell people I became unemployable. Because my mindset was, if someone wanted to hire me for a corporate job, and don't get me wrong, I'm not criticizing anyone with a corporate job. I mean, that's fine. I have no problem with it. It just wasn't for me. But if I were to go in for an interview, my mindset would be, why am I trying to impress you? Who are you? That was my mindset, because I just at that point, I was already in the entrepreneurial mindset to the point where I couldn't think of why I need to impress someone to work with them. Yeah. And
I think I did the same thing. I started like in the network marketing space, and a lot of people have a problem with it because it's hard to win in that space. But network marketing introduced me to two very, very powerful things that changed my life forever. Number one, first time I saw those circles on the board and they taught me about residual income, I was like, okay, that's something like anybody could build residual income. Most people just don't have it as a concept of what it actually is.
Most people don't even understand it.
And then the second thing it introduced me to was personal growth and self-development. Now, I was in Amway and a lot of companies. And Amway have one of the best cultures ever in the network marketing space. And I remember not making any money in Amway, but I kept going to the meetings. I went to all the conferences, but you know what?
You were learning. You were growing.
I was growing, and that growth was showing up on my job. Those leadership skills, that confidence, it kept showing up on my job, and I kept getting asked to lead projects.
I still carry them myself, brother.
And all of that stuff. And I was like, there's something to this, right? So I tell everybody it's a great place to start. And then it also taught me about, the tax codes, the two different tax codes.
But you brought up something vitally important, the circles, the residual income. I hear a lot of people say that, well, I don't like the idea of, someone making money up. I said, first of all, if you're on a job, someone's making money off your work all day long, every day, 7 days a week. The other thing I hear people saying that they don't like network marketing because of they don't like the whole idea of having to build a team. And I said, but you say you want to have a business.
Whatever business you have, you got to build a team.
Right. If you got a business, you better build a team or you're going to be burnt out in a minute because you can't do everything yourself. So you better build a team. And it's a lot of contradiction, but I heard a network marketing expert once say, he said, would people have an aversion to network marketing? It's not network marketing. It's somebody that they dealt with that it rubbed them the wrong way. Because he always says, oh, you got a story. What happened?
Right.
And when they tell them what happened, it's never, network marketing is just an industry. It can't do anything. It can't do anything. But you had a bad run-in with somebody, and that is what carried with you. And so he said, so it's that person. It's not the industry. The industry can't do a thing to you.
Right. I love that. So fast forward, got into the industry, got in the industry, got out of the industry, and then kind of became unemployable, right? And you realize that, wait a minute, me controlling my time, I can still feed myself and do some of the things that I love to do and still build something worthwhile. What was that when you made that initial shift, right? That you were like, hey man, I can just go do my own thing just in perpetuity, right? What were some of after the network marketing piece, what was some of the first things that you did to get back into the field of media?
Well, like I said, I did appraisal for a while, and
Mhm.
in that period, I was people asked me to help write stuff, so I was writing articles, editing articles, and so forth. Then I got out of appraisal altogether, and I actually left Atlanta, moved back to Maryland, and I started, just doing some work on. It was actually with another network marketing company, but it was a more of a service type of industry.
Mhm.
And one of the people who actually my sponsor, we started a blog talk radio show. And she knew nothing about it, but I knew about it. And we started doing a blog talk radio show. And from that point, that was it. Did that show. Then I started getting into working with people and coaching them in productivity. And that's when I wrote my book and so forth. And a friend of mine who I met along the way, she and I started another show. We interviewed different successful people in business. Then I got another show, and I decided to step away from it for a while. As soon as I decided to step away, a friend of mine said, "Hey, man, I'm starting a network and a show, and I want you to be one of the co-hosts." And he showed me all the other co-hosts. I said, "Oh yeah, I'd love to be in that lineup." I didn't know he was setting me up, because eventually I was the lead host. I was also the executive producer and director of this show. And he said, "Well, I knew you were the only one that had real media experience." So it was a setup altogether. So, but at that point, I was back involved in what I do. So, and I have friends who work with film, and I've talked with them about some stuff, consulted with them on some of the film stuff that they do, as well as, of course, like you said, I started writing books, and I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. I was always good at writing, but I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. Then I've written 3 of them, and it's communication. It's reaching different audiences.
Yeah. And it's funny because that's how I am. And I tell people all the time, there's only 3 things I work for. I work for passive income, residual income, and ownership. Then those are on the table. You can't hire me to do nothing, right? My mother-in-law asked me to come lay a floor for her because I'm good with my hands. I was like, "Mom, if I can't get paid for laying this floor one time over and over and over again, then you got to find somebody else."
That's a good way of looking at it.
But when you got back into the swing of things in the media, right? And I'm sure you got a chance to experience this growth of the internet, like from I was a young lad, and I think you were at least an adult when it really started to take shape. So I kind of watched it from a younger perspective, not understanding the power, but you kind of, like, when it hit, was able to see like where this thing is going. So talk us through the opportunities that you saw immediately in how the internet just leveled the playing field.
Well, first of all, when I started
built on top of the internet.
When I started in media, there was no internet. So that gives you an idea. We were using tapes in television. We were using tapes in radios. So that's one thing. If you and I talk about this in my Make Money from Media challenge, but if you wanted to be on a television show, you had to know somebody at that station. We go back to the nepotism, or you had to meet somebody and sort of impress them enough to where they thought you were interesting enough. If you wanted to be on a radio show,
right? There were gatekeepers.
There were gatekeepers, and there still are. There still are gatekeepers. If you want to be on a radio show, there still are gatekeepers to see whether you're worthy of being on a radio show. If you wanted a newspaper to write a story about you, you had to know someone or have a story interesting enough for them to want to write about it. You could pretty much shut the door and anyone doing a film about you or anything like that. It wasn't going to happen. But now, with the advent of the internet and the growth of the internet and the availability of the internet, you can now do all of that yourself. Television, you can start a streaming show right now. You got Roku channel. Think about that. You don't have to have a TV show. You can have your own channel. You can have your own channel. You can have several channels. You can start your own network. You can have a friend of mine, my friend, may he rest in peace, Clark Garrison, started a blog talk radio network. called Survival Radio Network, where he had 40 shows on his network, all internet shows. I was one of the shows on there, and it was like right now you're doing a podcast, you're doing it audio and video.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask anybody, can you do it? You don't have to go through a gatekeeper. You don't have to pay someone to get so that they find your story interesting.
That's right.
All of that, we didn't have access to that. If you want to go write a blog about what you do every day, you don't have to wait for an editor to say, well, we find his story interesting enough.
Right.
Like, I mean, like I said, I've written 3 of these things. I've written 3 books. I don't have to wait for somebody to say, we think your book is interesting enough to publish. I can self-publish. I can self-publish and still get my book out there.
Yeah.
I don't have it with me. I have my phone in the other room, but you can shoot a film with an iPhone.
Yes. I remember when Facebook Live first came out. I truly believe, I know I'm not the only one, but I had to be one of the first people on Facebook Live that did a structured show with segments, commercial breaks. Like from the very beginning, when I first saw Facebook Live, I said, no, this is like, it can be whatever you want it to be.
Yeah.
And people were so impressed, like, this dude got commercials in his Facebook Live. I'm like, because to you it's a Facebook Live. To me, it's a TV program.
There you go.
And that's how I looked at it, and I viewed all this stuff, and I see. I want to get your take on this because there's a couple of reasons that I do this, right? Number one, it's tied to my purpose, right? But also, I tell people all the time that this show is not just me talking to you, it's me talking to me. So I interview people that I want to talk to. I talk about subjects when I don't have a guest of things that I'm learning myself. So in order for me to learn it, it's good for me to teach it because it makes me learn it better.
Exactly.
But the third reason that I do it is because I know that I'm talking to my future descendants. See, I would give my left arm, Doc, if I could go back and hear in my great-grandfather's own words what it was like for him as a sharecropper raising 13 children on a small plot of land. And like people are missing, like we could record our story on these platforms in a way that it has never been done before. So as I'm building this empire, my kids you're not gonna be able to talk to my great grandchildren and say, yeah, I got lucky. You say, no, go listen to the tapes. My great grandfather said he was gonna do everything that he did before he did it. So, so what are your thoughts on that?
Well, wow, that was a lot right there. I mean, brother, look, first of all, we're supposed to leave an inheritance. And that, I think that's a wonderful thing. But the media, like, for instance, I have a cousin, and he's been dealing with some illness himself. But once he gets better, he and I have been talking about forever. We need to document the older people in our family because we want to just do some videos, some interviews with them. He and I, we're going to team up and do that. But it's funny you said that because, like, my siblings and I, every chance we get, like, it's usually when my parents have a guest over the house. And my parents, you know, God bless them. My parents just celebrated their 68th wedding anniversary. They're 87, 89 years old. So they got stories.
Yeah, absolutely.
They got stories. So whenever they have a guest over, especially someone that's known them for a long time, and they just start talking about stuff, we now hit record.
Yeah, absolutely.
We now hit record because we're capturing all these stories as much as we can because it's not something they just talk about regularly. But something has to get triggered where they want to talk about it, and so they can relate to somebody. And we can't relate because we weren't there. So they don't just talk about it. So when we get them to talk about it, we record it because like you said, people can learn from it. People can learn from it. And I mean, it's so much stuff that, like, my father knows. I mean, he knows poetry by Paul Laurence Dunbar. And I mean, he can recite poetry, not read it. He can recite the poetry at 89 years old. And it's just like, he actually, a couple of years ago, got up in church in costume and started doing the poetry. It was brilliant. I was like, who is this man? But the thing is, it's stuff like that you want to capture. And we are able to do that. Now, not only are we able to capture, depending on what it is, we can actually send it out to the world. not to your neighbor, to the world.
Yeah.
So
it's
think
funny,
about that for your business.
Yeah, I watched a documentary in another lifetime. I was a hip hop artist here in St. Louis, and I started documenting my journey, and I kind of put it down. But then I see the Kanye West documentary filmed on a basic store-bought Radio Shack video camcorder, and now Netflix paid the producer of that piece of material hundreds of thousands of dollars to be on the Netflix platform. I'm like, man, people don't understand that this stuff is like, we are in, everybody is looking for content, all of these streaming platforms, and all you got to do is create and find you a niche. So let's talk about real quick some of the top ways that one could make money from media. And I'm not talking about one with media background like yourself, because this is the everyday people, right? What are some of the top things that people could do to make money in media?
Well, it's funny because I'm doing my challenge today. I'm starting today, and I'm actually going to be talking about that all week. But real quick, a few things is write a book. Write a book. Write a book. And see, here's, I didn't say in my challenge, I give some other secrets, but I'm going to just tell you this. In writing a book, one of the biggest mistakes that people make in selling their books, first of all, and I'm not, if this is what you do for a living, that's fine. But a lot of people, they go to a publisher because the publisher sells them on their company and so forth. That publisher needs to tell you a definite way that they're going to make you money. Not get you exposure. They need to show you how you're going to make money.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So, because you can get exposure. We just talked about the internet. You can get exposure. Because I did not go through a publisher to market my book, but I have sold plenty of my books. Now, one thing, the big mistake people do is they sell the book one person at a time. I learned from my mentor, Myron Golden, sell your books in bulk. Sell your books in bulk. You sell your books in bulk, you'll get more books sold. And I even can offer a discounted price if they buy in bulk. That's my man. That's my man. I talk with him regularly. But the thing is, if you may sell them at a discount if they buy more. Doesn't matter. Stop worrying about the discount. It only costs you a few dollars to get the book, a couple of dollars really for the book. You're already gonna make a profit. But the thing is, it gets books in more people's hands. So now they know about you. Think about the end result. Think about the end result. That book is a business card on steroids. That book will bring you more notoriety. Like, for instance, I mean, we met through Dr. Watson. Dr. Watson has brought me in to speak and train because of the book.
Because of the book.
I wrote this book like 9 years ago. It's
powerful. It's powerful.
And I'm still getting called about the book. That's a form of media. And a lot of people don't see books as media. It's media.
It's media.
It's media. Another way is a podcast. A podcast is a great way. See, one of the simplest ways, do a podcast and basically charge people to be sponsors on your show. It's I mean, that's, you talking about easy way to make money? Because see, the podcast model that people know about is build a large audience, and then sponsors will want to be on your show, the big corporate sponsors. But everybody doesn't have that large audience. Right. And I mean, it's not realistic to think everybody's going to get that large audience. But you got local businesses. You got local businesses who want some exposure, and guess what? It costs them a lot less to come to you than to go to the terrestrial radio stations.
That's right.
Well, at least it may. I don't know what you charge. But the thing is, that's a way for you to make money. Another thing, streaming television. Streaming television, a lot of them will send you sponsors that pay you to be on your show.
I'm actually on 2 Roku channels myself, right? And a partnership with Unheard Media. A shout out to my girl JP, CEO. But she did the exact same thing what you're talking about. She's like, I built a network. I know content creators who I follow their work. It's like if I build a network, I'm just going to ask them if they want to put their work on my network, and let's form a partnership and let's split the ad revenue. Like it doesn't get any simpler. There are no gatekeepers, ladies and gentlemen. If you can dream it up, the technology to pull some of this stuff off. If y'all can see what I got going on here, I got a $3 drop light out of Home Depot to light me up a little bit, right? This microphone kit that I got is not the best. It was like a whole kit for $37 on Amazon or something like that. Like, you just got to have the desire and the will and the creative juices.
I think also, Cortez, it's and that's one of the things I talk about in my challenge this week, because I do the challenge for 5 days, because one of the biggest things that you have to change is people's mindset. Mm-hmm. It's not so much about the desire to do it. It's that a lot of people's mindset is still thought they still think in the past of the way with the gatekeeper and so forth. I'm waiting for someone to call me to ask me to be on their show. No, start your own show. Because we've been taught that. We've been trained that. You build your content and people will be interested in you. Forget if they're interested in you. Be interested in yourself.
Yeah. Build your platform. I know we also have another mutual relationship in Trevor Ott. And he always talked about the fact that there was a time when he wanted to be a speaker and he couldn't get on anybody's stages. So what did he do? He built his own stages. Now, those same people that wouldn't let him on their stage is paying him to come get on his stage.
I'm laughing because that literally happened with me and Trevor's stage.
Nice. Love it.
Yeah, no, because I mean, Trevor and I, we've been friends for a long time, but I could not get on his stage at first.
Yeah.
And I asked myself, what am I not doing? What am I doing? And then I said, start doing your own stuff. Build your own stage. Now, here's the thing. What I did is I built my own stage, but I invited him to be on my stage. Mm-hmm. What that did is I brought his audience. So then more people were exposed to me.
Yeah.
Once they were exposed to me, they were like, okay, he got some stuff that I might want to listen to. So then they wanted me to be on their stage, or they wanted to come to my next event without him. So it's just one of those things that you have to build your own.
That's it. Well, Dr. Barrett, we are at my second favorite segment of the show called Freestyle, because I know you got bars, bro. You out there from the Northeast, Maryland, D.C. area, right? Moved to Atlanta, the black mecca of hip hop in the South. So I know you got bars, friend. No, freestyle is all about, as I'm building this multi-billion-dollar international media conglomerate that will one day surpass Ted Turner and Walt Disney. I don't always ask the right questions, and the conversation doesn't always evolve to where it should go. So freestyle is your opportunity to either reiterate something that we talked about, or if we haven't talked about something that you feel that you need to cover, is your opportunity to take a couple minutes and just share from your heart with the people. So this is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show, the Dr. Barrett Matthews version. Hit them with your best bars, bro.
All right. Well, one thing I want to talk to you guys about is some of the mistakes that people in business make when it comes to their own marketing. One is know your audience. Most people don't know who their audience is. You have a product, you have a service, you have a mission or whatever you want to get out there, but you don't even know who the market is. When I hear someone that say, oh, I can service everybody, I know you're already lost, because nobody's business is for everybody. Nobody. Yeah. So that right there, you have to understand that. I don't care if you say, well, my company makes milk. Everybody needs milk. Everybody don't drink milk. Or I do water. Everybody drinks water. You know how many different brands of water there are out there? They're different brands because different people have different likes. So understand, know your audience. Yeah. Know your audience. Another thing, know where your audience is. Know where your audience is. And see, you can't, I'll put it like this. If your market is for people that make 7 and 8 figures, I hate to tell you that Twitter ain't the place to talk about your business. So you got to know where your audience is. Because if you don't know where they are, you're going to be sitting there twiddling your thumbs and scratching your head for a long time. You got to know where your audience is. The last thing I want to tell you is this. Know how they want to receive their message. The biggest mistake that I've seen from a lot of people is they do ego-based marketing. Meaning that, and then I'm going to use you as an example, Cortez. Let's say you know that you have an audience out there and you love doing your podcast, and you say, you know what, I'm going to find my clients that want to pay me through my podcast. and which is great. And you may find a lot of clients that want to pay you through your podcast. But you may have a whole different audience over in Kenya that wants to read Cortez's book. If Cortez doesn't have a book, he's missing that audience that wants to pay him. You may have another audience over in Southern California that loves watching documentary films. If you don't have a film about your business and what you do and who you serve, you're missing that audience, which means you're missing revenue. So my point to you is, if it's not a matter of which medium you want to do all of them. The answer is yes. Do all of them.
Right.
And because the thing is, if you don't, you're serving yourself and what makes you comfortable, as opposed to what your audience is looking for and how they want to receive it. You go through a drive-in at a fast food restaurant because that's how you want to receive your food at that time. What the restaurant has done is they put that window on the side of the building because they know they're trying to serve the audience the way they want to receive their product. Why are you still doing it the way you want to give it instead of the way they want to receive it? So that's what I have.
Love it. Drop the mic, man. That is freestyle right here on the Cortez Hustle Show with Dr. Barrett Matthews. Tell everybody real quick, Doc, how can they get with you in the challenge that goes down today? Give them all your details so that they can follow and stay in touch.
It's the Make Money from Media Challenge. If you're sitting there right now and you're saying, I want to get a larger audience, if you want to reach people, not just in your neighborhood, but all over the world that want to pay you, not that want to know you, that want to pay you, then that's what this challenge is for. If you're somebody that just wants to get what I call Facebook famous, it ain't for you. But if you you actually want to learn how to reach people that want to pay you, then this is for you. What we're going to be talking about is print media, social media. We're going to be talking about podcasting. We're going to be talking about streaming. We're going to be talking about film. We're going to be talking about how to monetize those things. It's a 5-day challenge. It starts at 11 a.m. Eastern. And if you're for VIPs, it's from 11 to 1. VIPs get more perks. They actually get to ask more questions because we get to dig in more about what they do. Also, one of our VIPs is going to get a chance to win a free iPad.
Love it.
If you're general admission, you still get all the knowledge. You won't get to ask the questions that the VIPs do, but you still get all the knowledge that we're going to be sharing on how to do these things and how to make money in the media. Now, general admission, your session starts at noon. It goes from noon to 1. So it's 1 hour for general admission. As VIPs get 2 hours every day from Monday through Friday, starting today. You can sign up now. All you got to do is go to makemoneyfrommediachallenge.com. Makemoneyfrommediachallenge.com. It can't get much simpler than that. But my point to you is this: if you really are serious, I always tell people, Cortez, I'm looking for the serious, not curious. If you're serious, those are my bars. If you're serious about changing your business and changing the way people look at you, if you are serious about giving people the information the way they want to receive it and not just the way you want to give it, and if you're serious about getting paid, then I challenge you right now. Sign up for the Make Money from Media Challenge and go to makemoneyfrommediachallenge.com right now. Sign up.
Love it, love it, love it. So that's going to do it for us. We've been listening to and learning from the great Dr. Barrett Matthews. He's taken all of his years of media experience and putting it into a challenge for you to learn how to monetize your gifts, talents, special abilities, your passions, your experiences, because even your experiences can pay you if you put them out there. So until we talk to you next time, I want you to get your money up because you absolutely can do it. But more importantly, you deserve to do it, each and every single one of you. Now hustle up. But you've got to overcome fear if you're going to win.
You're tuned into the Cortez Hustle Show. Please like and subscribe.